Ever since the release of AI overviews, I've had a very healthy obsession with figuring out how to actually get in there. And after a load of testing, I finally figured out how to do it. And this is one of my clients here, and I managed to get them into AI overviews for multiple search terms across different clients. Now, unfortunately, I wish I could show you the actual client itself, but I can't. So how do you actually do this? It's a lot simpler than you think, and it doesn't have to be very expensive. The way you get into AI overviews and different large language models like ChatGPT is through consensus. So consensus is basically when everyone or most people agree on something. So let's just say you've got a group of friends and they agree that Lord of the Rings is the best movie trilogy of all time. Guess what? That's consensus. Now there's one problem here. There's quantity and then there's quality. So let's say you've got 10 friends and 7 of them say Lord of the Rings is the best one, right? That's the best movie trilogy. Now 3 of your friends say Rush Hour is the best movie trilogy. Now the difference between these 7 and these 3 aren't the numbers, but these 3 are actually qualified movie critiquers. So because these guys have got that qualification, the consensus may be that Rush Hour is the best movie trilogy of all time. And AI and search engines, they work the same way. They're going out into the web, reading all the information out there, and then basically understanding it and categorizing it. And you want to be on as many of these websites as you can. And I'm not necessarily talking about backlinks here, although I will mention that later on. So how do you actually build consensus in a cost-effective manner? So the first thing you're going to do is extract the existing consensus. So you want to see what people actually think about you, your brand or your service, and then you're going to make a list of those opinions and then shape those opinions. So you can go ahead and ask ChatGPT, what is Uber? So let's just say I'm using Uber as an example. You're going to ask it, what is Uber? Go on review sites, go on Reddit, see what people are saying. See the people also ask sectioning the Google search results. So from this research, you're going to make a list of opinions you want to influence. So some of the things I got is Uber cheaper than taxi? Is Uber safer than a taxi? Should I take a train or an Uber? Can I get a refund? So you're going to make a list of these that I'm going to use later on. Now you might be thinking, so what if no one knows my brand yet? It's completely new. All you're going to do is do a press release. So essentially you're going to write a piece on what your business is all about and then distribute it. And there are lots of different sites out there that are free that you can distribute your press release on. And one of the easiest ways to shape consensus is to add information to different parts of your website. So for example, let's say the homepage here. The homepage is a primary source of information. So let's just say you're this company, Zatu Games. They're a game company, and I just wrote in the heading, UK's biggest game retailer. Buy without risk with our 30-day money-back guarantee and 1-year warranty. So guess what? When Google is analyzing it, they're saying that they give a 30-day money-back guarantee and 1-year warranty, and they're the UK's biggest game retailer. Guess what? They're going to recommend them because they're an authority and it's safe to do business with them. Another key area you want to place important information is within the footer. The reason why is because when you make a change to the footer, which is the very bottom of the website, that information is going to appear all throughout the website. Then you're going to do the same with your about page, because adding info to your about page adds more context. And then you're going to go through the free press release approach that I mentioned above. Step 3, get on top domains that are cited by AI overviews. So these are the websites that are constantly cited on AI overviews. There are free sites like YouTube, Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. And there are much harder websites to get on like Wikipedia and Healthline. And what's interesting is Google is actually cited here as a way to get on AI overviews. Surprise, surprise. So this goes to show that as long as you're ranking on the first page of Google, chances are you're going to get cited in AI overviews. And this also proves that blogging is not dead. So what you want to do is publish a video on YouTube on what your brand is about. So for example, let's just say you're Uber. You publish a video like this, how a trip works. And then within the description, you'd go into more detail on how a trip works. You want to give as much information to Google as you can. Reddit is another one. So answer questions on Reddit, but don't leave a link to your website, just mention your brand. And the reason why is because Redditors absolutely hate self-promotion. So answer questions about your brand and answer questions about the services you provide. And then you want to publish an article on LinkedIn on what your brand is about or answering queries. So if you remember, we did that research and made a list of questions that people are asking about our brand or about the topic. Then you're going to create content around that. So in the case of Uber, you'd write an article along the lines of, is Uber cheaper than taxi? You'd want to get on Facebook, so create a page, then talk about your business. So you'd want to fill out the about section, and you want to publish content natively about your business. Then Quora, you want to go ahead and answer questions related to your brand and the services and products you provide. And with Instagram, you're basically going to use the bio to describe your business. Along with the content you publish in the description, you want to mention things about your business. So for Uber, it says in our showgirl area. Now Uber can get away with this because they're so big, but let's just say they're just starting off. This is what their description will look like. Uber is an app that lets you book a ride from your phone. You tap a button and a nearby driver picks you up and takes you where you want to go. So when crawlers are going through this, when Google's going through this, guess what? They have a much better understanding on what your business is all about. Now, if you're trying to rank on Google, I'd highly recommend checking out this page. I'm sure you've been watching YouTube video after YouTube video, and I think you can keep doing that. Or you can just spend an hour with me and I'll clarify everything for you in just an hour. I'll leave a link in the description below. Publish your article on Medium and talk about the services you provide. So step 4 is you're going to add related entities to your content, this content that we're publishing here. So an entity is basically a thing. It could be a person, could be a location, could even be a price. And it's basically something AI can actually grasp and categorize. So keeping with the Uber example, you'd have things like Bolt, Lyft, Grab, because they're all related to taxis. You'd have facility entities like bus, depot, pickup zone. You'd have product or services entities like airport transfer, rideshare. And when you're mentioning these entities and mentioning your brand within the same page, guess what? Google's going to relate those two things. And what's happening here is your relevancy scores are going up. This is your competitors right now, and this is you. And by mentioning those entities, your relevancy scores are going to go higher and higher. So let's just say Google's trying to understand when you're searching Apple, are you talking about the company here or are you talking about the fruit? And one of the ways Google helps understand that is by the words on your page. Are you mentioning things like iPhone, Steve Jobs, tech? Guess what? You're probably searching for the company. If you've got things on the page like fruit, calories, 5 a day, guess what? Apple, the fruit content is going to come up. And that's essentially what this is about, increasing your relevancy scores. Step 5, spend $100 to make a big difference. So what am I talking about here? All you're going to do is go to a site like Upwork or People Per Hour or whichever freelance website you want, and basically going to publish a job post. So for example, I'm looking for backlinks on a language learning related website. If you're a language learning related website, you'd have this, and then go over website requirements, like so right here. And then you'll start getting different proposals. And these people will have websites related to your business. And by getting on these websites, guess what? You're going to become even more relevant. So what makes a link worth it? Well, authority matters, but relevancy is king. So for example, people will often say that, hey, I've got this high domain authority website. Guess what? That means nothing. What matters is traffic. Is that website getting traffic? If not, guess what? Who cares? Let's just say you're trying to rank in the UK. Ideally, you'd want .co.uk domains. The site must be in the language your business is in. You want to avoid link farms and PBNs. Basically, these are just websites that have been set up just to give links, and the links must be do follow. And there's one other thing right here. It's an SEO lever that no one is using. And the good thing for you is this video has only got 200 views, and it's something that's completely changed the game for me. I'd highly recommend checking out this video.